There you go.
Hello and welcome to a special segment of our featured member video this month at Elevated Kinetics. This is Coach Brian, and I'm interviewing Lynn. Hi, Lynn.
Hi, Brian.
How are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good, holding up. You know, we're fighting through this COVID thing, but I think a lot of us are actually thriving, and we'll dive into that. But I'm excited to interview you and share your story with our members. So if you don't mind, we'll dive right in.
All right. Well, first, thank you for having me. So my name is Lynn Ainsworth. Originally, I'm from China, a city called Shenzhen, which is an hour away from Hong Kong. It's a very urban city. So I grew up in pretty close to the Western culture, style, lifestyle, I would say. So about 10 years ago, I decided to come to the States for school, further education. So at the time, I actually had 5 offers from all over the States. I picked Denver because it was the warmest place to go to, because apparently I am always cold. So that's how I ended up here. It's been 10 years since I moved from China. And I went to Denver University for my electrical engineering, master's electrical engineering for 2 years. I don't remember much about it, to be honest, because I don't really like school. I hope it's okay to say that. I made it. So after that, I got my first job at Micron Technology.
Hold on 1 second, if you don't mind. You just gave us tons of information, and I'd actually like to spend a little bit more time on the stuff you said, because you have a super interesting background, and I think people would want to know more about it. So you, in like 2 sentences, were like, yeah, I'm from China and it's an urban city. And then I moved out of there like 10 years ago, but most people that I talk to aren't from China. So can you kind of tell us more about your kind of growing up in China, what your childhood was like? Because I think it's a lot different from people here, or maybe it's the same. I don't know. I just think it's interesting.
So I was born in 1988, which was still under the whole one-child policy. So I was raised as a single kid in the family. I have to say I was extremely spoiled for that reason. So growing up, I was sent to all kinds of different schools. So in China, we have like different schools that you could go to learn different things. It's not just like you go to school and learn subjects. So I started with piano classes. So they have dedicated schools for piano classes for kids. I was 3.5, and I remember I just hated it. And at the time, spanking your kid was very acceptable, especially in the Chinese culture. I remember I was not having it. So then my parents switched that and sent me to study or to learn dancing and then singing. And then I remember swimming, ballets, all kinds of stuff. And then gradually I noticed I just wasn't a kid with the patience. So I just quit. So I would say that growing up, I experienced a lot of that. And I think that most of the activities that I did growing up as a kid was very sporty. I think athletic, I would say. So I guess that's why that I am into the fitness stuff, related stuff and all that.
Cool. What did your parents do for work?
My parents both worked for the government at the time. Shenzhen is a really pretty young city compared to all the other cities in China. They were the first generation that was sent to the city to build the city. My mom was a pediatrician. My dad was an architect. This is why they see education very important.
Of course.
Wanted me to do the same thing, yeah.
And did everybody, when you said you guys came over 10 years ago, was it just you for school, or do your parents live here now?
No, I came here all by myself. I just packed everything. I honestly didn't want to make this trip. It was because, as I mentioned, I was really spoiled. So, my parents, I was always with my family. I did not want to leave my family. I would say that that was the first challenge that I remember that I ever had in my life. I was 21. And especially when I turned 12, my parents decided to have another baby, which is my younger brother. So after being the single child / princess in the family for 12 years, I
That's
had
a big
brother.
change.
Yeah, I saw him grow up. So we were really close. So when I had to leave home to come here for school, it was really difficult.
So your parents were like, okay, there's no more one child policy. Let's go.
Oh no, there was still one child policy.
Oh, there was.
There was. They had to quit their jobs.
Wow.
On top of that, there's a $16,000 fine to pay for have a second kid.
Oh man.
So here comes the very interesting part. So because of the difference, because of the policy, in China, we have to register the kid so the kids can go to school and, receive education or receive benefits and all that. If you are not registered, which was usually the case for most of the second or third child considered illegally, then you don't get to take those benefits. You don't get to. The only way that you could change that is to pay the fine. So he was an expensive kid. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Well, we were always a very close family, just growing up, me and my brother. Yeah.
What does your brother do now?
He just graduated from UC Davis, actually.
Oh, awesome.
He is 21 now. We're 12 years apart. He studied, I think, bio or chemistry or something at UC Davis. Yeah. So 4 years ago, he came here for college.
Cool. Was that fun? Like, did you get to see him a little bit, or was it just he was in California, you were in Denver, you guys didn't get to cross paths?
I visited him. I visited him a lot because when he came, my parents actually followed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And with the fact that I already settled down in here for so long, I actually had everything ready, set up for him. I helped buy him a car. I rented an apartment for him. I even moved all the furniture that I didn't need to use at a time to the UC Davis, to the apartment that I rented. So by the time that they landed, they already have like dishes already washed, food already stored in the fridge and everything. I moved into a well-prepared apartment.
You're a rock star.
I tried. It was a lot easier for him.
You're like working full time and you're pulling that off at the same time. That's insane.
Yeah, I mean they're my family, so that's nothing.
That's really cool. So are they all still in California or?
So my parents, because they were on the visiting visa, which just allows you 6 months to stay in the States, I think. So every 6 months they have to go back. So they have just been back not long before this whole pandemic went down. So they were lucky they got to go back. My brother is still in California right now. He planned to go back on the 30th of this month, but we'll see. I don't know.
Yeah, everybody's on lockdown. I think California is they're like 2 or 3 weeks ahead of us. So I don't know. Hopefully they're loosening up soon. That's what I hear from people in San Francisco anyway. I don't know if it's the same where he's at. So, okay. So let's go back to you. So you said you came here to go to electrical engineering school. Was that at School of Mines?
Oh, DU, Denver University.
DU.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it. Okay, cool. And then, did you get a job right after?
I got a job actually a little before I graduated officially.
Okay.
It was, because it was my first job, so it was actually at the time pretty easy to get, I think. without any skills, they can't really judge you much.
Right.
Right. So that was with Micron Technology. It's
Okay.
a company like Seagate that they produce like computer hard drives, solid state drives. They're up in Longmont.
Okay. And that's who you're with now, or are you?
Oh no.
Sorry.
I worked there for 4 years, 4.5 years.
Okay.
Yes. And so for me, that's a very traditional business, I would say.
Yeah.
There are a lot of very experienced engineers. Most of the work is done on the back end because you're dealing with hard drives.
Yeah.
So almost everything was written in C, maybe some C++. I'm not saying it was bad, but for me, being young and fresh out of school, I wanted to learn something more, maybe more popular nowadays, maybe more straightforward, maybe more closer to the user interface.
Mhm.
So I switched. I got out of that business and I joined a startup called Filament. I don't think they're there anymore. It was years of learning all the crazy stuff about blockchain. So, yep, that was my second job. And I don't know, am I going too fast or do you want me to?
No, this is perfect. So this is like, yeah, you're bringing us into now, and then I know it might be boring to you to talk about what you're doing for work, but people are interested in it. I'm super interested in it, so I'm excited to hear about like what you're doing now. And then I promise I'll ask you questions that are not work related, but I just think well, if I'm interested, other people are too. So
okay. Right. So that was my my second job, actually.
Yeah.
After 2 years, that company was actually closed down because it's a crazy and cool idea. I would just, the brutality was kind of low, blockchain.
Yeah.
All people know is Bitcoin. Bitcoin is just very small fraction of the whole blockchain distributed ledger concept, right? So that's how I ended up with my current job. So right now I'm working for NREL. It stands for National Renewable Energy Laboratory down in Golden.
Cool.
As a software engineer, I help build the tools for their energy products. So a lot of the energy that we use right now, the government actually gives out incentives if we agree to install energy saving equipment or measures. So that's my job, to help calculate how much we can save by using what kind of measure.
Cool. All right. So before we started this, you were telling me about some of the kind of struggles you're dealing with right now because of COVID. And I wish I was recording at that time, but I wasn't. So can you kind of dive back into that a little bit? You were saying you were struggling with some of your basically other people that you deal with right now in your job, just because you are so busy during this time. Yeah.
So it's funny. I think that I'm not super familiar with them. That's totally understanding it. I just remember one day I received this email from work and said that all the work is seized. And for certain people, they're on different status, visa status. They technically just tell those people to contact the office right away, because it seems like they're not allowed to work offsite. I know of a lot of coworkers that they come from other countries that are on work visa. So I asked about it. I think it's still okay for most of the research people like me, since we can't actually work remotely. For some of the researchers that work in the labs and deal with materials, they can't do that at home. So a lot of the analysis ceased there. And because of that reason, I think people that can work from home are put on more responsibilities in that way. I am busy because I know that we also are very deadline oriented, because most of the projects are DOE funded. So they want to know when you have something accomplished.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. So with more people, it was definitely more flexible, but now it's not. So I really try to make time. Like yesterday, I just could not work out at all. I worked 9 to 9 yesterday.
9 to 9. Yeah. You're not going to find anything. Yeah. That's crazy.
Oh,
I'm pretty impressed with how consistent you have been though, just with everything going on. You've been super busy, but you've been, and I don't want to derail this and get into fitness yet, but I've just been pumped that you have been either doing the Zoom sessions with our, general fitness side, or you've been doing the weightlifting side. I've just been super impressed because I just know how busy not everybody's in the position you are where you're basically all guns blazing at work. Some people are kind of like, oh, well, I have all this extra time. I'm doing all these other things. And they're like ramping up their fitness, but you're doing it in spite of. So I just thought that's really cool. But before we kind of get specifically into that, I want to save that for later. If you don't mind, let's shift and talk more about what you do for fun, but not with fitness, because I know you love the barbell and everything, but
okay.
I'd love you to tell us kind of, what maybe you do outside the gym and outside of work.
So I say that my husband and I are pretty boring people. We enjoy the married life. So once in a while we'll go out and have a date night or something. We also have 4 dogs. So we walk them, we take them to the park, and it's a full house. So even without going outside, we still have a lot of fun in the house because we both really love dogs. And we both ride motorcycles. So for me, riding is definitely one of the things that I would definitely do just for no reason. I would just get on a bike and ride to somewhere and come back and turn around. That's something I love.
What do you ride? And I'm leading the witness here. She has the prettiest bike ever, but what is it?
I have a 2019 Triumph Thruston R. It's a retro-looking bike. I think it's just made for me. It's the perfect size, perfect height, perfect weight, perfect power, everything, perfect color. It's just perfect. So I
agree 100% because I still remember the first day I saw it because you parked it outside the gym, and it was just like the way the sun was hitting it and everything, and I was like, that is a perfect piece of machinery. And then I was like, whose is that? Like I didn't even know it was somebody in the gym. I thought it might have been one of the neighbors or something, and then you're like, yeah, that's mine. And I was like, yes, that's awesome. So
I think there's like that was the class with one guy. And the rest of them were girls, if I remember right.
Yeah.
And you asked the guy, he said, is that your bike? Did you write it?
Yeah.
And then I said, Brian, that's mine.
Yes.
That's mine. The whole time, he just didn't hear me because I was so quiet.
Yeah.
And I remember that day,
Yeah, you were still you hadn't come out of your shell yet at that point. You weren't like the bubbly Lynn that we know now. So that's probably, because you have a really good sense of humor, and everybody knows like you're going to say some things that, other people that don't know you are like, whoa, because it's like, you're just so funny. So
Chinese.
Actually, you can't even really hear your accent at all unless you really try. So you must have been speaking English for a long, long time.
I tried. We learned English in China.
Yeah.
But the way that I learned English is to listen to rap.
Really?
So there are a lot of American rap. Yeah.
Huh.
So at the time we were taught like British English, not American English. And I wanted to be different as a kid, apparently. So I started listening to like Jay-Z at the time, Kendrick Lamar. Those are the rappers that I listen to all the time. Yeah. And just try to rap with them, actually, to catch up with them. That's how I learned.
That is super interesting. Okay, so like I don't think I could flip this around. Like if I wanted to learn Chinese, I'm pretty sure I couldn't listen to Chinese rap and pick it up, or could I? Yeah, that's cool. Okay, I know I wanted to talk about your motorcycles. So that was awesome, but you said you had 4 dogs. What kind of dogs?
4 dogs. They're all rescue dogs. I got them from Longmont Humane Society, Denver Humane Society, and a rescue called Bounce Animal up in Loveland. I have a Rottie mix. I'm pretty sure she's a mix. She's about 3 years old when we got her. According to the people there, she was dumped in somewhere in the middle of West Texas after they bred them. And then she was caught stray. And I have a Puck who's also caught stray. And somewhere in downtown Denver, we always make fun of him just having escaped from a Chinese or Korean restaurant because he didn't have a tag on him. And then I have, she's actually not my dog. She's my husband's dog. She's been with him and us forever. She's a border collie mix. She's about 14, medium size. And 2 months ago, we adopted our 4th dog. His name is Bruno. He's an American Bully. We got him from the Longmont Humane Society.
You guys have a pretty eclectic mix there.
Yeah.
You have like the Rottie and the American Bulldog, and they're like the big guys, and then all the way down to a Pug. That's awesome. And they all get along pretty well, or no?
They do. They do. They all have very unique personalities, which is so funny. And they're not aggressive, so there's no, not really getting along with them. Yeah, they're just
cool. How'd you meet your husband?
I met him at my first job, Micron Technology. He was actually a contractor at the time. So he was working, not part-time, full-time, but he was an employee. I was actually an employee there. We met at this so Micron is next to a brewery in Longmont, if you guys been there.
Which one?
It's one of the Oscar Blues.
Oscar Blue, the huge one, or the other one?
It's one of their breweries. They have small breweries.
Okay, one off like Hover, kind of.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
Right. So usually after work, the engineers just walked over and have a beer.
Yeah.
So that was one of the occasions where I met him.
So you got 2 engineers, 4 dogs, and some motorcycles.
Yes.
You're like, oh, it's the married life. That's a pretty fun thing you guys got going on. That's really cool. Okay, let's talk about it. How did you get into fitness? I guess you started with CrossFit maybe, or how'd you find CrossFit in the first place?
So I was working in Longmont for Micron. I just saw this like a little gym. I would say it's almost like it's not the hole in the wall, but it's definitely not really noticeable. At the time, the gym has 2 sides. One is Muay Thai and martial arts. The other side is for CrossFit. I started with the intention of learning martial arts. I don't remember why. I think I always wanted to, because I'm a superhero fan. So I like all the Marvel movies.
Yeah.
So I kind of like, I wish I was a mutant, so I can fight. So that was like how I had the thought of learning something physical. Also, I grew up training gymnastics, so I have a little background there. And then soon I found out that the other side, the people, I have to say this, I don't mean anything bad, but I found the activity on the other side seemed cooler. Like, I don't know. I just feel like, I can do a lot more of that than learning martial arts. So to me, it was just more fun and more attractive. So that's how I switched. And then I realized how much weight we could lift doing this. And that's after I met my husband and started riding motorcycles, because I dropped my first motorcycle twice and I wasn't able to pick it up. So I was more certain that I am going to do CrossFit. I'm going to train myself. I'm going to gain muscle and strength. So one day, if I drop my motorcycle again, I can pick it up. So that's how it all started.
I love it. So, and now you're doing a combination of Olympic weightlifting and CrossFit. We actually find very frequently that people with any semblance of gymnastics background, or even we've had cheer, they love the Olympic lifts because it's sort of like, we used to call it barbell gymnastics. I don't know if that term is still around. Because it's like, it's such a beautiful movement. You're moving your body through space, but now you're doing it with a heavy weight. So how did you kind of get turned on to Olympic style weightlifting? And then could you just, from your perspective, tell everybody like your perfect mix? Because I know you like to do both. So could you just tell everybody like what works for you and why?
Okay. So I always have this goal in CrossFit. I love CrossFit. I want to say that I still think that I'm better at CrossFit than Olympic weightlifting just because I train longer. So most of the workouts for girls is always like, it's always 95 pounds for girls and 135 pounds for guys. So a lot of those workouts, I wasn't able to do it because of the fact that I could not lift heavy. I can do burpees all day. I can run really fast or for a very long time. It's just, there's always this like a roadblock for me. So I got to a point where I was just afraid of going to the gym if I know that today's workout has lifting in there. So I remember telling myself, you can either do that or you just quit. Do you want to quit? I don't want to quit. I see all the girls at the competitions, they're snatching 95 pounds. Like, well, it's not like nothing, it's still heavy, but they're able to do it. So for me, my thought was just simple. I just want to be able to do it. I just want to be able to snatch a 95 pounds bar if the workout prescribes that way. But I know that for me, I know it sounds like a first world problem. I have difficulty gaining weight, or I say muscle or strength. I have just gotten my 95 pound snatch PR like a year ago. And that was all luck. I know it was just all luck. Yeah, I was like, oh, those stars line up perfectly. My bra was in the perfect shape. I had the volume of music, everything. I knew that. But it's also at that moment that I realized, oh, I could do that. And it makes me feel much better when every day I come in with a goal. It doesn't have to be a huge goal, but as long as I reach it, I can leave the gym happy. So that's the feeling that I crave for. So I started talking to you and even to Josh about nutrition. Why am I not gaining weight? Why am I not gaining strength? My misconception was it's because I wasn't heavy enough to lift the weight. I tried to eat a lot. I ate to where I got sick and I was still not able to lift heavy. And I think it was right before Christmas. I was talking to Jake because I saw Abby and those people were lifting there. And then I changed my membership because I wanted to lift more. I still wasn't completely understanding the reason why I wasn't gaining weight and would I be able to lift heavy one day. I just want to give it a try because I already tried all these other ways and they didn't work. And then soon I realized that it was because I wasn't lifting enough. That's why I wasn't gaining weight. Because ever since I started focusing on Olympic weightlifting, I'm starting to gain weight. So I've gained about 7 to 8 pounds, depending on the day, since the last time, since I last realized I was stuck. And that was before weightlifting.
Cool. And it's in a good way, right? Let's make sure people understand this. Yeah, Lynn wants to gain this weight, and it's all lean muscle is what she wants. So
right.
That's awesome.
To perform.
Yeah, I love it. So what are you working on now? Like, is it still the process of technique and just trying to get more volume in each week, or is there like a specific outcome or goal that you're chasing?
So after switching my focus on more on weightlifting, well, so first of all, Jake dared me um, go to this competition that was supposed to happen and didn't because of the COVID-19. I already trained with the mindset that I'm going to do my first meet ever. I'm going to. I still have that hope. I'm still working on it. Maybe hopefully after this thing, this whole apocalypse, I'll be able to go to a meet. Yeah.
Awesome.
So I believe that will happen. And this is the reason why I'm training on the Olympic side, on the Olympic weightlifting side. So everything that you just mentioned, techniques to improve my forms, to be able to lift heavier and heavier, to improve my numbers and all that. I realized that I could lift heavier and easier in CrossFit. I could. And the reason why I wasn't paying attention to my form. I believe I have the strength there. But after starting training with Jake more, now in the CrossFit workout, if there's lifting, I actually pay attention to how I lift. I would look into now, like on Zoom, I would look into the screen where I can see myself. Do I look okay? Is my form correct doing this? And even with that, I still notice I can lift much heavier or heavy weight much easier than I could before.
That's awesome. That's like full circle, because it's, as coaches, we tell people like the most efficient way to lift is with the best technique. That's why we teach it. It's not just because we want to make it hard on you, right? So, yeah. but when you feel it and you feel it right, it's like it pops, and it's seemingly so easy, and it's safer and everything else. And you can lift so much more weight when it's done properly. So it makes everything seemingly easier. A lot of weightlifters say, just in their day-to-day life, even I had one who had a window that would stick in their house all the time. And then after like 9 months of Olympic style weightlifting, they can just pop the window open now. So I don't know if maybe, somebody else might have greased up the groove or something, but it's just these examples happen all the time. And it's cool to hear yours.
I do notice my reflex has been really on point. Like if I see a glass dropped from the counter, I can catch it. I don't know if it has anything to do with it.
100%. No, it does, because Olympic style weightlifting is training that type 2 or fast twitch muscle fibers. So when I explain this to people, it's like, yeah, we get a base of strength. That's like your tree trunk. But then as we start building on it, we want fast twitch muscle fibers, because then we can react to things. And even in functional fitness, this is why I argue with people with hours on end, why we need to do the Olympic lifts as part of functional fitness. If you're 95 years old and you're out walking to your car and it's snowed and there's ice on the ground and you slip, if you have fast twitch muscle fibers, you can react. But if you don't, you're going to break your hip. So yes, that's awesome. And I love that example that you can like react and catch things. That is Olympic weightlifting in action. You're just more athletic. So
great. Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right. Well, I don't want this to drag on super long. I think we learned a lot, but is there anything else that you wanted to kind of tell us about you while we're doing this interview?
I mean, I'm not any way special. People can always come to me if they have questions. There are a lot of things I've gone through. I would say it's almost everything every coach in the gym trying to teach us. Some of us, like for me, myself, I'm speaking for myself. I can be very opinionated sometimes. Stubborn, yes. Sometimes I would ignore it, not that I intentionally not listen. I would ignore it because I don't think it fits me. But I don't have any foundation to back that theory. I have to go through it myself to realize that, yes, they're right. There's a reason why they want us to do certain things. So I would say that, I don't know, just listen. That's what I've been trying to do. And sometimes I don't do it well enough. I would hope that all coaches just tell me straightforward. I don't take anything. It's hard to offend me. So But for that, I'm just really grateful to be in this gym. You have no idea. It's different. I don't know how to describe it. It's just all the people, just for the level of knowledge you guys have and the passion that you guys have for us. It's just, I mean, it makes me feel that it doesn't matter what, I'm always trying to make that hour out of the day to work out, not just to not to let my coaches down, but also to prove that if I want to do certain things, I can. So thank you guys for that.
I appreciate that. That's why we do it. Like deep down, that is why we do it. So it's like I'm holding back some tears right now because those are like all the points that like we hope to accomplish in the gym. So, and I didn't tell her to say that. If you're listening to this, this is not scripted. So, no, literally after all the stuff, like that's exactly why, to get that feeling. That's why we do this as coaches. So thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I hope you have a good rest of your day. Hopefully you can work out today, unlike yesterday, right?
I would try, yes. I would still have to work tonight, but I would definitely squeeze out an hour or two to just do that. Okay.
Well, maybe I'll see you on the Zoom session. But if not, I'll see you soon. Again, thank you for doing this, Lynn. Much appreciated. And yeah, have a good rest of your week.
You too. I'll see you on Zoom.
All right.
Thanks, Brad.
Bye.
Bye.